Hi friends, Minnow here, and today I'm gonna show you my studio.
Welcome to the room in our apartment that I use as my studio. It's also the office, so there's also some stuff in there that's not only art related. But the main use is definitely my studio. I did tidy it up, but not excessively, so you get a real glimpse of how it usually looks. I tend to make sure to have it tidy, so I always have a nice and clean space to create something new. I'm trying to give you a good overview of how the studio looks as a whole. I wished I had a bit more art on the walls, but we only rented this apartment and are in the process of planning and eventually building our own house, so I don't want to ruin the walls with putting up a lot of frames. Here are my two printers. The broader one on the right is for general documents, and it's also a scanner, so that's handy. And the big nice inkjet printer from Canon on the left side is the one that I use to print art and stickers. And on top of them is where I keep my art prints currently. I try to switch it out often to stay inspired by those amazing artists. Here you can see my office bookshelves. This is where I keep my manga and graphic novels and basically all other random things that we don't have space to store anywhere else. I also keep my old store stuff here. There's still a lot left and I don't really know what to do with it since I closed my Etsy shop for good. Let me know in the comments if you have ideas. And right next to it is where I keep my bookmark collection. I always try to buy bookmarks for my favorite artists and artist friends if they have some available. Moving on to one of the shelves I have next to my desk. This is where I keep supplies that I don't often reach for. On top I have this container with random old acrylic paint inside. I only ever use it to create underpaintings for my gouache illustrations. Then I have a big ruler and a couple of art books. I really want to grow this art book collection, so recommendations are very welcome. Here I have another container holding all the pens I hardly ever use. I have quite the collection. I also store Copic refillers here. I really don't like using Tombows or acrylic markers in my art anymore, even though they're so popular. But you never know, maybe someday all I want to use is exactly those pens, and here I have them ready for whenever that day arrives. And last but not least, I have my Silhouette Cameo down here, which I use to cut stickers. And on the very bottom are my chunk cabinets. Here I throw in everything that doesn't look good on the shelves. That's basically the rule. Now let's move on to the more exciting part of the studio, the desk. All the way to the left side of the desk I have my big screen. I use it mainly on the 2 days in the week where I work as a user interface designer for a software company. Then I always have my MacBook on my desk. I always watch other artists on YouTube when I work on something, so I don't feel so alone. And on the window board I have a couple of pencil holders. This one I got from a local store and I keep my sketching pencils and Muji pens in here. Also some erasers and my favorite pair of scissors. Basically it's everything that's not just regular colored pencil or brush, but that I reach for regularly. Next to it I have a little mason jar that I use to sharpen my pencils. It's pretty handy. And here we got all my color pencils that are in Prismacolor. Moving on to the brushes. I haven't found the perfect brush for me yet, so this is still experimentation. All in all, I really like the setup I have going here. I can easily reach for all my pencils and all my brushes, and those are really the things that I reach the most for. I use them almost daily. And I also have to point out my desk lamp because it's amazing. It's from IKEA, not expensive at all. It's so good. And with that, we get to my favorite shelf. This is where I keep all the good stuff. Here I keep a tiny notebook that I use to write down random thoughts or little shopping lists. I also have my glasses and a little candle. I also use this mobile holder from IKEA quite a lot. And here I store all my unfinished sketchbooks. As you can see, there are quite a lot, and I know it's a problem. Right below is all my gouache and gouache related stuff. I have all the tubes in here, and right next to it are the palettes, and I also have some watercolors in here, some old napkins that I use, and yeah, that's about it. And this is where I store all of my Copic markers and alcohol markers in general. I have 2 full sets of Copics that I got for for 2 separate birthdays actually. And then I have some other markers as well. I do have some Faber-Castell, but they're not alcohol based, and I don't think I've ever used them really. And I do have Copic cleaner, which is used to clean the pens when they get dirty. And I also have all my Prismacolor pencils here as well. At the bottom I store my paper and another palette and some canvases. I decided to store my Copic markers horizontally since filming this. I also have this little random card to the side here. I wanted to fill it with colors, but now I use it to store all my technology stuff like my Switch, my iPad. I also store my new Himi gouache here, but just for now. And then more cables, and that's it. It's just a random little card that it just fits perfectly here next to the door. And this little unit is a real mess. All my sticker paper and stuff, all my random stuff that I want to put up on the wall but haven't yet, more paper, random stuff, all just thrown in basically. And more paper, so much paper, to be honest. More paper, who would have guessed? And this is a really nice watercolor paper actually. And then cables. That's it. And that's everything that I have in my studio that's art related. I hope it gave you a little insight into my art world and you enjoyed this little studio tour. And now I'm gonna leave you to enjoy this couple of shots from the whole studio. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye.